Welcome back to an episode of Let's Build Twitter. We're on episode 73, and in this episode, we start building out the logic of the new RegisterNextButton component. We write a switch statement, which will return the correct next button for each registration step, and start out with registration step 1, which only continues to the next page after filling out the information. To handle this, we use the state inside of the register slice to make sure that the information is all the way filled out. Then we had to modify the register slice to set error to false if we successfully went to the next step, and set up the dispatch inside of the register next button to take us to that next step. We also set up our register step 2 button, which simply increments to the next step as well without worrying about any other verification. Finally, we worked on setting up the register next button for step 3, which is the step where we actually send the user's initial information to the backend. We had to make another method called to dispatch inside of register next button component to send the information. Then we tested it all out to make sure it was working as expected. As always, I'm Ethan and Koder, and let's hop straight into development. Basically, what we might go ahead and do now is have a switch statement. Can we do a switch statement in this? We might have to say, I don't think we can just do a switch statement, can we? Switch on step. We can. Okay, I'm just stupid. It's all JavaScript. You can do whatever you want. We're going to switch on step, and case 1 is going to return this. And the thing is once again, we can get the state and everything because we're inside of a component. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll import. This is probably not the best way to do this, and I'm probably gonna end up having to do more spring cleaning. But we're gonna say app dispatch, and we're gonna grab root state, and then we're also going to grab the imports, and this is going to be use dispatch and use selector. Like so, and save. And here's what we'll do is we'll go ahead and set up the state. So I'll say const state is equal to, and we'll say use selector, and do one of these, state colon root state, and we want the state.register. And we'll also say const dispatch, and we'll say app dispatch is equal to use, excuse me, hiccups, use dispatch. So we have our dispatch and everything, and this is basically where all the logic's gonna be going down. So this could have been like a service component or something, but it is what it is. Give me one moment. We have this, we have our style next button, and inside of our case, I'm gonna say let, and again, we'll say like active equal to, and I want the same information from form 1. We want active to equal to DOB valid, email valid. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be first name valid and last name valid. So I'm gonna grab this, and we're gonna go back into our register next button, and I'm gonna change this to back to valid. And I don't know all the fancy keys, I'm sorry. State and state and state and state. So if all of these are active, this is going to be called not active. The color is going to depend on whatever thing it is, whatever button specific it is, so for each case. And I'm gonna also have a default here, default, and the default is just going to return this styled button like so. And I think it's broken right now, at least I hope it's not. And let me fix this. Unused label. What's wrong with default? Let's see. Register next button. Undefined is not assignable to yada yada yada. What's the actual problem? Is it because... yeah, for some reason it didn't think there's a return. Did I spell default wrong? Like... is that why? Okay, it definitely wants. So I guess what we'll do is I'm going to wrap this in a method or non-method of function. So I'll just say const, and we'll say determine button content, which will return a JSX dot element. And this will take in the step, which is a number, and do one of these. And of course, it's mad at us because it's not returning anything. We'll throw this in here, and we'll paste this. I don't know why case 1, fall through. We want to return this. And then what we can say is JSX is not assignable to type element. Let's try this. Now it's still mad because obviously we're not returning anything. We're going to return a call to determine modal or determine button content with the step. And this should work. Yeah, now we're good to go. So this is somewhat good. So we have a default that just does this, and this one should say next, like so, and save. And obviously it's going to say hee if we hit the button. So I think this is still, it's not doing anything because we haven't filled anything out currently. But what we want to do is whenever we click this, we want to do whatever logic we had in register form 1. So in register form 1, whenever we click the button, it just hit next page, and next page, all it does is calls dispatch increment step. And what we could probably do instead of setting name, error, and all of that stuff, what we could probably go ahead and do is just go ahead and update that inside of the Redux slice. So in register slice, we could probably say whenever we increment step, so let's scroll all the way down to here, update, that's fine. We could probably go ahead and say state dot error is equal to false, and that will probably work out, and we wouldn't need this part anyway. So basically what we're going to want is a method or a function called increment or something, or next step, like so. And this is going to take in no values, so we'll just do a quick arrow function. I know people don't like arrow functions, it is what it is. And we're going to dispatch a increment step, which we'll go ahead and bring in, and we can go ahead and copy the name of next step, pass it in here, and save. And now this should work. Now we should be able to go ahead and get rid of style next button. Fingers crossed. We should be able to get rid of this because all this is doing is updating that button anyway. We should be able to get rid of that use state, and we should be able to get rid of this dispatch. And I think we still need the state just to be safe. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and keep the state there, but we don't need the dispatch anymore, I don't think. I think all of our dispatch is being done inside of the inputs, but theoretically we should be able to come back in here, everything should be working, and now we should be able to see this working, maybe. As we see, it gets smaller. I thought that I'd fixed this issue, so we might need to look at some CSS for this guy, because I think this is a CSS issue with the content itself needing some sort of what would be the word for it, like margin or something on the top. And I can actually take a look at this again. So if I take a look, I know you guys can't see this, but I have a small demo of my example here. The inputs have a margin auto on them, and that might do it. So I might need to take a look in that, but it is what it is. This is looking somewhat good. The button might be a little bit close to the bottom for my liking, but let me make it smaller again. I guess now it looks pretty good. Cool. So I want to make sure that this is still working because I don't know if it's actually working or not. So let's go ahead and just put in unknown coder. I don't have an email, so let me go ahead and go into temp mail and just grab a random email. All right, copy the random email just in case we do go to the next steps. And let's make sure that this is still working. So we'll go before you're old enough. That's good. And then let's just put like February 30th. Okay. Obviously, let's actually go 96. I don't have a different input issue. I should probably do that. But it's all good. Let's put a random date in. Okay, so this didn't quite work as expected. Maybe we need a use effect watching the state. Let's see. So we are doing all of this stuff and doing all this. The date of birth is valid. The email is valid. The first name is valid and the last name is valid. So let's go ahead and come back in here. Not here. Get rid of that. Our register next button. Do we need to, let's see, we might need a use effect or something. We set active. This should be fine. As in the step as in props, and we have the state step in there. Okay, I'm gonna do console.log and rendering the button and save. And let's take a look at this. So let me clear this. We're typing stuff. It is rendering the button.com, rendering the button. So it should be enabled at this point. So let's console.log active in here just to see what's going on. So console.log, we'll say active, colon, plus active. We don't need to do this. It's not Java. Active. I've been doing a lot of Java recently. Save. Okay. Active is equal to true. So disabled should be false, although active needs to be active. So that doesn't help. Okay, now it's working as expected. We can click on it. And if we click next, theoretically, it should take us to the next page. Nothing happened. Terrific. We have our on click to next step. Next step dispatches increment step. Do we have to do this? We have to do it like that. We shouldn't though, right? I already deleted all this, of course. No, we do definitely need to do that. Okay, third time's the charm. Hey, we're at the next step. Let's go. So that part's good. So this one should be fairly easy. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. This guy's done. Terrific. That was a bit easier than I thought. Register form 2. This one is basically the same thing. So we can go and get rid of this guy. And get rid of the dispatch and everything. And all this one's going to be, actually what I'll go ahead and do is I'll copy this. And then I'll get rid of this stuff. So this one, again, is pretty simple. Save, register next button. I can get rid of this. So case number 2. So case 2 is going to return a style next button that looks like this. This one, active, is just automatically set to true. Colors, black, and next, and that should all be good. So theoretically, if we come back in here, we click on this, it doesn't really do anything, but we hit next, if we hit back, it works, hit next, it works, this still works, hit next, and now we have our sign up flow, and this part is the part that worries me a little bit, that's going to be broken. So let's go ahead and take a look at registerform3.tsx. So we have a submit user method, which takes in just the state of the information, then we dispatch registry user, so that doesn't seem that bad, I guess. So let's just copy this guy and save, go to our register next button. Again, this is kind of gross, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, you feel? So we'll go ahead and return this. So obviously submit user isn't there. Active will always be true. We don't have it disabled. I guess we don't need it. Color is blue. So now all we need is a method called const, and we'll say register user. I'm guessing that we already have register user. Yeah, that's what we called it. So we'll say send user info, I guess. And we don't need to pass anything in because we already have it all in the state. So that should be good. And this one is going to dispatch a register user. And this needs an object, I believe. So this object needs to be first name, last name, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to grab this. It is what it is. And we're going to need to call that method. That's fine. We'll bring it in. So we'll have this. We need to import this guy. So import that from our date utils. And then we can go ahead and pass in that user, I suppose, user. And that should say send user info, and this needs to return that, and that should be good for that part. So I think that I have the server running. The server is running, and if we come back in here, it says we should be able to sign up. So I guess what we can do now is we can just attempt it, I suppose. Everything should be fine. We have something broken in the on change. Looks like these are all old, so I guess I'm just going to ignore them. Yeah, so theoretically, we should be able to register a user and it pop up on the database. So I guess we could just try it. Before I do that, well, we already cleared this, right? Yeah, we already cleared that. We can clear this in a second. Register next button. For 3, send user info, blue, true. And what it's gonna need to do is maybe we have to be able to increment to the next step. That's the only thing. Inside of our user slice, do we do it in there or something? So register user, we have to wait the data. And then when we do the async thunk, builder add case, register user pending, register user fulfilled, we just increment the step. Okay, we don't have to do anything. Terrific. Sometimes you kind of forget how these work. So I'm going to go ahead and open this, and I'm going to try to sign up and see what happens. So it went to the add phone page. We can't skip. I might fix this a little bit to make it line up with this better, but it is what it is. Now the question is, okay, we haven't sent the email yet, so that's fine. I want to look in our database. So I'm going to open up dbeaver. You guys can't see this, but I'm going to open up dbeaver and just check to see if there's a new unknown coder in there with a random username. So dbeaver is open. Let me open up my Twitter DB and close out of a couple things and go into Twitter. Public tables. I just want to see if there's an extra user. Yes, so there is an extra unknown coder with the random email, so that's all good to go. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for today. If you guys enjoyed, please stick around for the next episode by hitting that subscribe button. You'll know exactly when it comes out, especially with that bell icon. If you did enjoy the content today, please sure to leave a thumbs up. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs down. Either way, it helps out with the algorithm all the same. And finally, if you have any suggestions or feedback for me, make sure you leave a comment down below. With that being said, I appreciate you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.